I'm joined today by a young lady who has spent her entire life here at St. John's Citadel. She has been in just about every program that we offer, and now she's a young adult making her way in the professional world. I'm talking about Abygail Pike. Welcome, Abygail.
Thank you.
So, you have been rocked in the Citadel cradle in that you've been here since you were born. Can you share with us what St. John's Citadel has meant to you in your early years and growing up through all those years, and what it means to you at this point in your life?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I grew up here. I kind of did every program that St. John's Citadel had to offer. So as a child, that's a lot of what my idea of church was, the places where I went for like singing company and band, and we were always here twice on a Sunday, and my parents were heavily involved, so it was always the building I was at every day of the week, pretty much. But then as I got older, St. John's Citadel, one of the things I really have liked, and one of the things that have really resonated with me is the great community that it is and the great support that they have given and continue to give to me.
Great, great. Now, there's a danger when a young person is born into the church, the Salvation Army context in this case, and they shuffle along from program to program, that an assumption can be made when they reach their adolescent years that, oh, well, they must have this faith thing figured out, you know, and they've got it all under control. I feel that that probably is an unfair assumption when it gets made. Are you able to share with us a little bit about when personal faith came into focus for you?
So once I reached my adolescence, I actually started working at camp. And for me, that was a very faith building and faith grounding experience, because for a lot of young people, it's also the first time you kind of live away from home for a little bit. But then also you're just in such a rich environment where every day you're having these conversations, not just you're kind of leading and helping children through them or like other young people, but then also like your staff evenings and weekends, you have time to be with like-minded people, people who are in the same stage of life as you, and you can start to kind of share and have these conversations. And I think that's when you can kind of start building your faith yourself. Like you were grown up, given the fundamentals, and for me at least, that's when I think I kind of started owning them and started being like, yeah, this is what I believe about this and how this applies to my life. And so camp for me, I worked there for probably at least 4 years, and I did a couple years of leadership training there prior to that. That was a big growing and learning experience for me.
Thank you. So catch us up on life for you these days. You've not long ago come back from a work term somewhere in the United States. So why did you go there? What caused you to go a work term there? In other words, what program are you doing at MUN? And what's next?
So I'm currently in classes, actually. I get no breaks. So I go straight through, well, the summer it is now. So I'm at Memorial and I'm studying civil engineering. So I'm in my 4th out of 5 years of that. So almost done, hopefully. So yeah, as you mentioned, I got back not too long ago from completing a work term in Houston, Texas. I went down there for a little over 4 months to do some structural engineering work. I guess the main reason I kind of went there is when I was in high school, I was involved in an underwater robotics team because I knew for a very long time I was interested in engineering, and that was an extracurricular that really piqued my interests. So in my first year involved with that, we competed internationally down in Houston at the NASA Neutral Buoyancy Lab. And so ever since I went down there, there was just something about that city that I really liked. And I kind of said to myself then, you know, I think I'm going to be back here to work, you know. If not for a long time, I wanted to at least experience it and go there. So that's where I'm at now.
So 1 year to go to
Yes.
graduation. What are the hopes, the aspirations? What's going to happen, or what do you hope happens after that?
Well, what I'd really like to do with my career is to work in offshore structures. So that's kind of why I went to Texas, because that was very much the opportunity that was available. So I'd love to eventually be able to work in like offshore structural design for wind farms and get involved in renewables. So we're not quite there yet in Newfoundland. And while I would possibly move if an opportunity came up elsewhere, you know, the country isn't quite there yet either. So I guess immediately following graduation, I'm just going to kind of look for a job that will help benefit me in getting to where I'd like to go eventually.
Yeah, and the recent announcements about using wind as a source of energy for this province, or in this province, is really starting to heat up a little bit around here. We're switching from one source to another. And Lord knows we have enough wind, you know, and so that's very interesting. I hope something can work out for you with all of that. Back to the faith component, and you've just now segued us into the professional realm. As you go down that road further and you're moving out, your sphere of influence and the sphere of influence on you is broadening. And so you're coming up against folks that some will share your beliefs and background, others will not. And how does faith play a role for you in that context?
Well, like as you already mentioned, you kind of meet with people who maybe don't share the same upbringing or the same background that you have. And I do feel like I've kind of already hit that a little bit. Where my program does have work terms, I've worked in the professional world for a little over 2 years at different occasions. Right. And also just different professional extracurriculars and things I'm involved in. So I definitely think I have hit that already a little bit. And I guess what I will say is that my faith, where I grew up in the church, I got that very strong foundation and the fundamentals from the beginning. And as we had previously discussed, then I got to a stage where I was able to kind of own that for myself. So because I had the opportunity to grow and discern and own these things for myself already, I feel like they are a part of me. So it's not just like I'm still navigating some of those preliminary, I guess, things of faith. So for me, going into those situations where I might be a little bit different, the first thing that I kind of always think of is, you know, humility. No one's going to listen to what you have to say if you just like go at them super angry and super like walls up and that kind of thing. So for me, two really big things in any professional and academic environment would be humility and respect. And so that, I think, helps with the faith side as well. If, you know, you respect their opinions, they respect yours, and then you gain that trust to have different conversations and even just view and recognize how you are different as well.
It's kind of that whole thing about, you know, don't tell me who you are until I see who you are. And yeah, it's probably a very sound approach to all of that stuff. So you're a young adult making your way, and there are perhaps others that are in your demographic that are watching this. The faith experience is not all a straight up, straight line. It's bumps and it's, you know, hollows, and there are times, you know, you're not on that mountaintop in a faith experience and you're really struggling to find footing again. Maybe some of them are there. Mm-hmm. What would you say to them?
I would say surround yourself with great people who are willing to walk with you through those and willing to pray with and for you in those situations. Not only, for me at least, in those situations in life can you feel really lonely, so it's obviously great to have people around, but those people can kind of help you and carry you in the times when your faith waivers and when maybe you don't feel like you have the strength or the words to say in those situations.
Thank you very much for doing this interview with us today. It's always nice to hear what's current in the lives of our young adults, and you're certainly one of our very prominent young adults here at the Citadel. So thanks very much, Abigail. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.